there is a three-part step. First is the setup, where you can see what is the label, description, and you can change pictures, and also some of more advanced settings, but this is something for anything else. And we are going to go on the design now. And design part is developed in three parts. So on the left, we have all the elements that we can use. The elements are in two parts. One is basic, that we have basic elements as input, text area, dropdowns, and stuff like that. And on the advanced, we have barcode that was mentioned, and GPS location, files, draw, calculation, and more signature. And on the middle, we have a form design. And form is designed from three parts. First one is the form or the tabs that you saw on app, and every tab has one or more sections. And inside the section, there are elements. So elements can be one under another or one next to each other. So you see we have a general, and then we have some work description, and we have different elements have a different icon before them, so you can see how the form is going to look. For here example, it is used a table element that is used for entering multiple rows and stuff like that. So every part of the form, if it's form, section, or field, have some properties. And when we click on the element, the properties are shown on the right. So we can switch between properties of the form, section, or a field. And if we look for the properties of a field, we have some label and some help or hint text and some advanced one. So I can just show you how you can work with this. So for example, we click on the client and we want to change a name. So we just change the label and we say custom, for example. And we can also change some advanced settings, like, for example, if we have an email field and we want that this field is always entered and that it's a type of email, we go to the field rules and we say this field is required, and also this field is an email. So this will enter email validation, that if user enters something else, it will say you have to enter an email. And if you want some other properties, we click on the field properties, and here we can, for example, add a default value, or we can say this field is only read-only. And also option is to show this field in a case title, so it's shown underneath the case title on the mobile application. This is used so that user can find the case easier. Okay, and if we want to add a new field, we just search for the element we want to add. For example, let's say that we want to add a GPS element. We select it and we just drag and drop it on the way where we want it in the form. We are looking for the green dots that are showing where it will land. So we can just change the title. And when we publish the form, this will be shown on all the new forms. And next, I will show you how to add a new section. So you click on the new section. And for example, let's say that for some customers, we already have a contract. So we add a new section and we name it contract. And for this contract, we want to add two fields. One is the type of contract, and the other one is the number of the contract. So the type of contract is going to be a drop-down. So under basic elements, we search for the drop-down, we select it, and we put it on place. and we name it. And for all the drop downs and radio button and checkbox, we have to have a data source. This is code list, and we can edit a code list for a specific element by clicking on add field data source. And here is listed all the data source, all the code list that we have in our studio. So we just search for the one we want to use. This is for a contract type, and it says which fields are going to be optional in this dropdown. So we save this. And we also add an input element of the contract number. So we want to do that this section contract is only shown if we say that our customer has a contract. So this is something like, say, we say this is existing customer and we want contract to show. So we add a toggle element above the section, which will say this thing customer, and we want to our form to show this contract section if this is true. So we focus on a section. This is our contract section, and we add a section dependency. And it opens a pop-up where you can set under which condition this section will be shown. You can also do this for a field or for a form. So we say that we want contract section to be shown if existing customer field is true. And we save it. So it is all you have to do, that you can hide some section under conditions. You can also use this section dependency for a drop down or a checkbox or a radio button or something like that, or even an input text. Okay, and now we will save our changes. And next I will show you how can you add some more of a complex code list. And this is used for something like if you have a external database of customers that you have in, let's say, Excel, and you want to use it inside MightyFields Studio or MightyFields Forms. So this is our example. These are some companies that we created, and we want to do that. Some fields are going to be pre-populated from this Excel. So if we select one company, customer, telephone number, and email will be pre-populated from the Excel. So we just save and go to code list, and we will add a new code list. Here is going to ask, or we want to add a simple code list. Simple code lists are used for drop-downs, checkbox, radio, and have a label and value. But we want to add a complex code list that has multiple properties. So our code list will be named customers, and it will have 3 properties: name, phone, and email. And we save this, and it opens. So we can add customers by hand, so we can type in the name, phone, or email, or we can import it from files. So if you want to import it, we click on import. We select the file, and all the companies are imported. And we are going to go back to our procedure. work order. And now we are going to use this complex code list in our form. So we go to advanced and we select a local column and we put it above customer and we name it search for customer. And we are going to add a field data source and we are going to say we want to use a customer that we created. Save it. And we have to now say which field is going where. So we add this with field properties and we say our field name is going to copy to our field customer. And our field phone is going to go to telephone number, and email is going to email. And we save it. And this will enable us to map our fields from Excel to our fields on the form, and this will shorten the time that workers have on field because they don't need to enter everything by hand. So we save the changes and we go to the next step, and we have to publish the form so that the change form will be available to all the users to collect data on the field. So after the data is collected, it has to come to a report. So you can create a report under the documents, and the documents work this way. So you can have multiple documents for one procedure. This is, for example, you can see here that this procedure working order, and it has an invoice and a report. So you can have, for example, internal report that shows some of the data and external invoice that shows other data from the field. So you don't need to have two procedures for the field. You can collect all the data at once and then just generate two different reports. Today, we are going to see our work report that we have. And this is work report for our form that we changed before. It's also, you can see you can have a header and a middle part and a footer. And all the designing of report is done similar to the designing of the form. So you have on the left all the fields that you can use. On the middle you have how it looks, and on the right you have a properties. And the form is the document is consists from two parts. This first one are static parts that are the same on every report that is generated, and you can just type static parts or add pictures or something like that to form yourself. And then there are some dynamic fields that are marked with a green number, a green color, sorry. And this will be changed with field data. So if a user enters 1, 2, 3 under work order number, it will say here 1, 2, 3. And you can add, for example, if we add a new row and we say we are going to add a contract number. This is the field that we add to our form. And if on the left, we have tabs that are the same that on the form, and we look under general, and under contract section, we have a contract number, and we just select where we want it, and we click on the field, and it adds to the document automatically. So you can change and add and remove fields from the document easily. So we just save it, and all the documents are going to be done by this template. And the last part that I'm going to show you are some actions. Actions can be done before the form is for form creation or after the form is closed. So we have a few types of actions, and I will talk about the ones that are important for you. So first one is email. Email action is used to send automatic email after the case is closed. The next one is webhook. Webhook is used to send data from MightyFields after a case is closed to your outside system. Webhook button is used to retrieve data when field workers are on the field and they want data. So, for example, you enter a serial number of a printer and press on the webhook button, and it gets information for your printer. And then the last one is dispatch. Dispatch is used to create a new case from outside systems. So let's start with an email. For every task that you create, you have to select for which procedure you're working for. So let's say work order, and we say that this is email to customer, and we save it. And it opens a blank email template. The same on the document. Here you can use static and dynamic elements. For example, from who we want this email to look like it came, we can set like dynamic or static. We say like that we want that it's say that it comes from our info email. And then to who, we want this email to be sent to an email that was entered inside the field. So yes, so our client email is going to shown here. And for subject is the same. We can enter something static, for example, work order. This is a static text, and then we add a dynamic that is then changed with the number that was entered. And we select if we want to add a document or which document we want to add, if you have multiple, and if you also want to include pictures. In body, we enter some text, for example, hi, and we can also then use some dynamic fields from the form. So, for example, we want to use customer name and order is. And then we want, for example, to add our own name. So we just go under case information, under metadata, we have a username. This is the name that of the user that finished the case. So, and we can also include some pictures or stuff like that in the email. And we save it. And it means that every time the case is closed, the email is going to be sent to our client.